On this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq, getting business booming in Husseiniya and a patriotic pararescueman mission. Don't miss these stories and more on today's FJI. Hello, I'm Air Force Sergeant Christy Byers. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Arizona Senator John McCain arrived in Iraq Sunday, his 8th visit to the country since the U.S.-led invasion 5 years ago. Senator McCain, accompanied by Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, visited with Commander of Multinational Division North, Major General Mark Hertling, in Mosul. McCain's visit is part of a fact-finding trip by the Senate Armed Services Committee. He also met with American and Iraqi military leaders for a briefing on current operations in northern Iraq and got a first-hand account of the situation in Mosul. His itinerary includes visits with other top Iraqi and U.S. leaders as well as service members. Today marked the 35th anniversary of Senator McCain's release from the Hanoi Hilton, where he was held as a prisoner of war for more than 5 years. His week-long trip will also include stops in Israel, Jordan, Britain, and France. Another distinguished visitor set foot in the sandbox today, Vice President Dick Cheney. His surprise visit to Iraq is just one stop on his Middle East agenda, which will include stops in Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Israel, and the West Bank. We'll have more on the Vice President's trip tomorrow. Next time on Freedom Journal Iraq, Navy Customs keeps the homeland safe. That does it for this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Check out mnf-iraq.com for all the latest OIF information. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. They convoy through the red zone in the middle of the night looking for terrorist traps, risking their lives for the sake of others.
IEDs are the number one threat to U.S. service members in Iraq, and we are here to defeat them.
Fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole.
They're called courageous, brave, heroic by those who've seen their work or heard of their exploits in combat zones. They're members of the 447th Expeditionary Civil Engineer Squadron's Explosive Ordnance Disposal Flight.
Copy that, a two-stun on that, a two-stun on that. Fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole.
I disarm bombs and I, save people's lives.
Their motto?
Initial success or total failure. It's exactly what it means. If you're not initially right, then it's a bad day.
Success stories from the first 2 weeks in January alone included the recovery or destruction of 51 improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, 18 weapons caches, and nearly 23,000 small arms.
I don't tell my mom everything.
I try not to give her too many details.
My kids are they're really young, so they're all right with it.
Some things are better left unsaid.
Close your ears, Mom. Air Force EOD has suffered more casualties than any other career field in the Air Force.
When I got blown up, it was underneath the back.
You drove over it, parked on it?
Yes. They had 6 122-millimeter projectiles buried in the road.
These are the big wars. This is where we're taking our heaviest casualties we've seen since Vietnam. We've lost some really good friends.
A year ago this month, 3 fellow airmen, making up Team Lima, lost their lives in the line of duty while investigating a vehicle-borne IED near Al Mahmadiyah.
They were doing it to save somebody's life, plain and simple. So, I'm not mad about it now, and I understand. So.
And although the seemingly fearless EOD flight has seen a steady decline in the number of missions since the beginning of the war, the fate of Tim, Liz, and Dan is a grim reminder that the threat still exists.
Roger that.
Air Force Sergeant Christy Byers, Sabre Air Base, Iraq.
Fire in the hole.
Tensions rose here in Baghdad on the eve of the anniversary of the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq. The spike in bloodshed in recent weeks served as a stark reminder of Iraq's continuing instability 5 years after U.S. troops rolled into Baghdad, toppling Saddam Hussein's regime. As General Petraeus prepared to present his progress report to Congress, Muqtada al-Sadr prepared his Mahdi militia for protest, threatening an anti-American rally and the end to his ceasefire. credited with helping reduce violence across Iraq. Stoddard canceled the demonstration merely hours before Petraeus took the stand, urging the government to demand the withdrawal of the occupier or a schedule for its withdrawal from our Holy Land. The top U.S. general on Iraq gave no such timetable, however. Instead, he offered an open-ended suspension of U.S. troop withdrawals this summer because of concern over the renewed fighting. He said while security has improved in many areas and the Iraqi security forces are shouldering more of the load, the situation in Iraq remains exceedingly complex and challenging. By July, he'll undertake a 45-day period of consolidation and evaluation. Air Force Sergeant Christy Byers, Baghdad. Meet Specialist Ronnie Jeffries. He voluntarily deployed to Camp Victory in Iraq.
Since the time I remember talking and watching movies, I remember always wanting to be in the military. I heard stories about my dad being in the Army, and I've got two brothers that are also in the Army as well. Whole family pretty much military.
In fact, his brother, First Lieutenant Dave Jeffries, deployed right down the road from him to Camp Stryker.
After 9/11, we knew that our country was actively engaged in, the global war on terrorism, and we wanted to do our part in that. So we knew that we were going to join the list of families that had provided sons in the fight.
The Jeffries family provided sons in the fight, all right. Ronnie and Dave's oldest brother, Sergeant Corey Jeffries, deployed a Black Hawk right away to the Green Zone.
It's in our blood. All of us are patriotic, not in the fact that we feel the need to wave the flag or trumpet our patriotism, but when called upon to act, we do so.
The benefits of our great society come with sacrifice. Due to deployments, I've missed 3 or 4 wedding anniversaries.
I missed every holiday there is.
I missed my twin nieces being born. I spent my own birthday and anniversary on guard duty in the middle of the night at our back gate. I missed an entire year of life. Let me retract that. I won't say that I've missed it. I spent it doing something that was vital. But it's a year of experiences in and amongst my loved ones that I can't ever get back. And while I regret that, the mission does come first.
We look at it as a small sacrifice for all the benefits that we've received as being American citizens.
One of the benefits they received because of their sacrifice was a chance to reunite for the first time in nearly 5 years, on Veterans Day of all days. But the reunion was bittersweet for one of the brothers.
I'm glad to see my older brother go home first, even though it's really tearing him up inside.
While Corey will spend his Thanksgiving in California, his heart will be in Baghdad.
I'll be thinking of them. I'll be thinking of the time that my father spent in the stinking jungle of a country called Vietnam. I'll be thinking of the winter that my grandfather spent trapped in Bastogne during 1944. I'll be thinking of the young wounded men who come into this hospital. And despite the fact that they have grievous injuries, when they cry out, it's not in pain, it's because they're calling for their friends who were also injured in the incident that brought them here. I have never seen honest bravery like that before in my life.
The Jeffries lived the Army Corps values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Their service in the sandbox together is proof.
When my wife sees this, I know that this deployment's been especially hard on you being the second one. And I just want you to know that I'm aware of your sacrifice, and I know what you're going through, and it's something that is in my mind and heart every day.
I hope that people take away from this that the soldiers are here for the people back home. We're not here for self-glorification or here to hurt people. We're here to make this country a better place, and hopefully for this country to one day be stable enough to run itself and be a great place to live. And we're here for, like I said, the people of the United States. That's what we do.
And with that, they hugged goodbye, not knowing when their paths would cross again.
I would simply ask that they be careful, don't be foolish with themselves, do the job, and come home safe. I'll be waiting.
Air Force Staff Sergeant Christy Byers, Baghdad. Combined efforts of the Army and Air Force are putting pressure on al-Qaeda in Iraq. Footage released this week by the U.S. military shows a series of strikes on AQI targets. While on patrol, coalition forces came under small arms fire from enemy personnel hiding in a building. Bradley fighting vehicles laid down suppressive fire on the safe house, and F-16 Fighting Falcons destroyed the structure with a 500-pound GPS-guided bomb. In another incident, F-16s annihilated an al-Qaeda building housing IED-making materials with two 500-pound Joint Direct Attack Munitions, or JDAM bombs. South of Baghdad, Apache helicopters targeted a truck transporting a mortar system. They engaged and destroyed the vehicle with a Hellfire missile. U.S. air superiority has prepared the battlefield for ground troops by clearing roads of hidden bombs, killing enemy fighters, and dropping leaflets to alert local citizens of forthcoming actions against al-Qaeda. Air Force Sergeant Christy Byers, Baghdad.